Good morning, everyone. This is Sharika Matthews of Live Life Beyond Barriers. Happy Tuesday, you guys. I hope that your Monday went well yesterday and that you ended the day in power and in confidence. So today I have a special request from someone who follows me and wanted me to speak on this topic of exit a situation as graceful as possible, whether it is leaving a relationship, leaving a job, or just leaving a conversation. How do you exit a situation gracefully? So I'm going to talk about those three different scenarios: how to exit a relationship, how to exit a job, and how to even exit a conversation or just a group of people. And one thing that I really want you guys to understand is that number one, you only have control over you. So when you are talking about leaving a situation or leaving a person, 9 times out of 10, you are not able to control the reaction that other people may have towards you leaving. And so when you make a decision that you need to leave a person or leave a situation, you want to be clear about the reason that you're doing it. You're more than likely leaving a situation because you need to protect your heart, protect yourself, or even protect your reputation or your finances. So be very clear in that and be very rooted in your decision and be spirit led. Sometimes we are quick, and I am guilty of this myself. We are quick in cutting people off, right? We are quick in cutting people off who offend us, who say something wrong to us one day and all this other stuff. But oftentimes those immediate reactions may not always be a God-led or spirit-led reaction. So you want to make sure that when you make a decision to exit a situation, that you are leaving because you have been led by your spirit to leave, and not just a decision that you're making off of temporary feelings. So when it comes to exiting a relationship, especially a relationship that is violent or abusive, whether it's emotional abuse, physical abuse, or mental abuse, you want to make sure that you have a support system in place. So you want to talk to your closest friends, talk to your pastor, talk to your counselor, talk to your coach, or whomever that you're talking to, and let them know what the situation is. And so that if the situation turns violent when you begin to leave, or the person begins to try to manipulate you, because there are people who would try to manipulate you into staying in a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or even a family or friend relationship. So if you're trying to end a friendship with someone that you've been friends with for, let's say, 20 years, but you realize that this relationship is toxic, that they are always pulling you down, they're always telling you what you can't do, they're always criticizing, your hair, your nails, how you say your words, and criticizing everything that you do, and you need to leave that. Sometimes that person would try to emotionally manipulate you, say things like, oh, I thought you loved me, or I am your sister, I am your brother, you're supposed to put up with this kind of behavior for me. You see, the problem with that is you make your own rules for your relationships. No matter who you listen to, whether you listen to myself, your pastor, your best friend, or a counselor, you make up the rules for how you want to be treated. So if you're in a relationship, a friendship, or even a family relationship where you are not being treated the way that you know that you need to be treated, you're not being respected, you're not being honored, and you're not being valued, and every time you leave the presence of that person, you leave a little bit of yourself behind, then you are not doing what God tells you to do. And God is telling you to love yourself, as love your neighbors as yourself, meaning that you have to love yourself before you can be in a healthy relationship with anybody, whether or not it is romantic or family or just a friendship. So one, you want to make sure that you are strong mentally and strong emotionally and strong spiritually when you are dealing with people, to know your worth, to know what you desire out of that relationship, and know what your boundaries are. And so when you're having this conversation about leaving a situation, you want to let the person know, hey, we've been together for 6 months, 5 years, or, girl, we grew up together and all this stuff, but this relationship isn't going where I needed to go. I have tried to communicate with you the things I need from this relationship. I have tried my best to give you what you need out of this relationship, but I'm still not getting what I need out of this relationship. And I feel as if we have tried every single thing that we possibly could in order to reconcile the relationship. And so right now, I really need to walk away. I value our time together. I value the lessons that we've learned with each other, and I value the experience. So I don't count this as a waste of time. And I hope that you value our time together as well. And so just having that conversation and coming from a place of love. And that's really going to be the key, coming from a place of love. When you are exiting a relationship from a place of anger, from a place of hate, from a place of I'm just fed up, you're projecting this negative energy. You're projecting this vibe that says I'm antagonistic. So when you come into a personal place of, you know what, F you, and I'm tired of this mess and all this stuff. You see how my head moved and my hands moved and stuff? All of that was negative energy. So if someone approaches you with that, even if it's over the phone or in person, what are you going to do? You're going to catch the attitude back. And so then it becomes confrontational. Then you're unable to actually exit gracefully. You're unable to have an intelligent conversation to where the end goal of the conversation is to make sure that both parties are leaving the conversation with their dignity intact, with their confidence intact. It is not about tearing somebody down. It is not about tearing the situation down. It's about doing what's best for you and doing what's best for the other person. And sometimes you have to make that decision first to walk away. So that's really how you exit a relationship gracefully. Hey, how are you? Hey, Tony. It's one of those things where also just because you exit a relationship gracefully, it does not mean that the relationship can continue in a lesser form, because sometimes some relationships are not salvageable. If you were in a relationship where the person was abusive, either emotionally, physically, mentally, those types of relationships usually cannot be salvaged because of how they treated you is who they are. How a person treats you is a reflection of who they are. So if they have shown you who they are, and if they have not made a decision within themselves to change who they are and do the work to change who they are, to grow up emotionally, to grow up mentally, and to grow up spiritually, then usually that relationship cannot be salvaged because they have not changed the person that they are. They haven't changed their core being. And so even if you are in a relationship with someone and you say, you know what, you're kind of abusive, I don't like how you talk to me, but maybe we could just be friends. Guess what? They're still going to talk to you in the same manner, even if you're friends. If you're talking about a job situation where, your boss was very condescending, he was always giving the work that that you can do to someone else, and he doesn't respect you, and you decide to leave that job, but you still want to stay friends with him on LinkedIn, you still want to stay friends with him on Facebook, he still ain't going to respect you because it is a reflection of who he is and his internal belief system. So remember that some relationships cannot always be salvaged, and you have to be okay with that before going into the situation. So if you're in a situation where you need to leave the job, hey, April, how are you? If you're in a situation where you need to leave a job or leave a contract for my entrepreneurs out there, you need to leave a client where your client relationship is not what it needs to be. Again, have the conversation, have it from a place of love, and let them know that you are not only doing this for you, you are doing this because you see that it's going to be best for them as well. And they don't have to agree. And you don't have to spend a whole lot of time trying to convince them to see things your way. Remember, the point of the conversation is not to convince them to come to your side. The point of the conversation is simply to communicate your thoughts, your ideas, and your feelings. not to convince. Because if you're trying to convince them of their wrong, trying to convince them to believe that the reason that you're leaving is the best reason or the right reason, that what you're telling them is that their thoughts, their opinions, their viewpoints of the situation is not valuable. So remember that the point of the conversation is not to convince, it's not to bring them to your side. The point of the conversation is simply to communicate your thoughts, your ideas, and your feelings. So, but when it comes to leaving a job or leaving a client, you always want to make sure that in as much as possible, leave on a good note. So if you're leaving a job, of course, don't go sabotage and don't go bad mouth and all of that. Talk to your manager first, or if you're talking to a client, let them know, you know what, and I've had to do this as well. I've had to let some clients go, a couple of clients go, because we simply were not a good fit. And so it's just simply having the conversation. Hey, I noticed that you and I really are not communicating very well. We're not getting the results that I know that you desire to see. And right now, I don't believe that we are a good coach and coachee pair. So I think we should end this relationship, but I want to recommend to you someone else that I think would be good to work with you. So that's a way that you could exit a relationship like that. Now, when you're talking about different other situations, whether it's other friendships, even if you're having a conversation with people and the conversation is going way left, they're talking about politics that you don't agree with. They're talking about, hot topics like abortion and civil rights, and, everyone is having all these opinions and it's getting heated and all of that good stuff. Simply back out. Simply say, excuse me, I have other things to do, and just back away. The problem with exiting a situation is that oftentimes we want to be confrontational. We want to let people know, what, I'm leaving because I don't agree with you, and I think you're crazy, and all this and that and the other. So of course, that's not a graceful exit. That's a confrontational exit. And so what you're doing is you're actually giving fuel to the fire for people to now talk about you in that situation, to start spreading information about your reputation, about who you are. Because remember, the same is true for you. The way you show up, the way you talk, the way you treat others is a reflection of who you are. So when you're talking about exiting a relationship, any type of relationship or situation, ask yourself, how do I want to represent myself? How do I want people to see me or think of me as I am exiting? They don't have to agree, but they can say, you know what? I don't like what she did. I don't even like the way I don't even like the reason why she exited, but you know what? I can respect it. So what can I say? Yeah, Tanisha, it is. Some people feed off of drama. They really do. And to be honest with you, my life is too short and too sweet to worry about all that drama. And that's the attitude that you can take as well. Minimize the drama in your life and maximize the peace, maximize the happiness, maximize the love. And that's really the point. You want to exit any job or any situation that doesn't maximize your peace, your love, and your happiness. And remember, when you're exiting that situation, it doesn't have to be confrontational. It could just simply be, you know what, this isn't working out for me. I wish you the best. Here's a recommendation for you to replace me, but I gotta go. And keep it simple. Another thing that we often get in trouble with is that we talk too much, right? We always want to explain ourselves. I actually just put a post on my other Facebook page about it's okay to say no without the need to explain yourself. It's okay to say no, thank you, and to say it with a smile. It's okay to say, I don't want to be a part of this, but thank you for the invitation, with a smile. And let me tell you guys, a smile will go a long way. I once had somebody tell me a long time ago, and I still remember this. He told me, you know what? Sometimes you say things to me, you say it so sweetly and with a smile, it takes me a day to realize you called me at all. And I laugh at that. We still laugh about that to this day. because it's not my intention. I hope it's not your intention to always tell people off, to make people feel bad and all this good stuff. Remember that your intention is to make the world a better place once you have left the presence of someone or a situation. So I hope that this video was very, very helpful for you, and you guys got some really good tips on how to exit a relationship, a situation, or even a job gracefully. If you have any questions or comments about anything I've said here today, leave a comment below or send me a private message here on Facebook. If there are particular topics that you want to hear me talk about and teach on, leave a comment here below as well, or send me a private message. I respond to my private messages. If there's something you want to hear me talk about, let me know, because another thing I was considering talking about too when it comes to relationships, someone asked me the question, I've talked about this before, is what is the difference between loving someone and being in love? And then the other question is love really enough to sustain a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a family relationship? So those are some things that I've had inboxes about that people want to, that I usually just reply to directly. But if there are questions or things like that you want to hear me talk about, just let me know, and I'll keep you anonymous. I never name anybody or call anybody out here, but I'll keep it anonymous and I'll share it, because the thing is, the question that you may have or the concern that you may have, other people may have it as well. So again, I hope that this was a blessing to you guys. Please like the video, share it with your friends and family, because I'm sure that this will be a blessing to someone as well. So you guys have a great, great Tuesday morning, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.